Amazing news, everybody. Glorbo is finally coming. After 2 decades, it is just about here. Now, to understand why, I first got to talk about, oddly enough, the dead internet theory. It's one of those fun urban myths that's been going around. The idea that, actually, on the internet, there's barely anybody. It's all AI content. Nothing's real. It's all fake. And while that's maybe not the most plausible theory, I think most of you exist, we're getting a little bit closer with the rise of AI content. And through our videos, you've seen the likes of Geo Media, who actually own quite a few gaming outlets that you probably have read, how they have been going in the route of AI content. This is something that's been done across quite a lot of the web, blog, journalism sort of space, and now we are seeing it happen quite a bit more in what is in fact one of the most egregious examples of this. Now, so that you understand, is the idea here that somebody will find one of these outlets, have an amazing experience, and become a reader? No. That is definitely not it. What actually all of this is for is really the same reason why every time a video game comes out, or at least a major one, you see a humongous quantity of SEO content, right? As an example, PC Gamer did an article called How to Make a Seasonal Character in Diablo 4. I think that is a question that not many of us need to be answered, but if there's a potential SEO appetite there, that is search engine optimization, so views that are driven through Google and stuff like that, if there's an appetite, this stuff will exist. In fact, this content is a lot of the bread and butter of websites where quite a lot of money is actually made, and typically speaking, if the big websites don't do it, then it will often end up being done in a more shifty quality fashion by, in many cases, a bunch of outsourced to the east stuff, which we've seen happen quite a bit as well. And in a world where it's this sort of SEO content that actually pays for the bills, we have a strange situation where, at the end of the day, doing a big video game review isn't going to be worth a lot of money when you think about the amount of money you've got to pay somebody to actually sit down and review a full game. Many people in the games industry could, in fact, get a better paid job elsewhere and working at some big game blog, and that's where we have Z-League and the Portal, right? The Portal is seemingly just any game site. When you look at it here, we have an article about Halo, something about Lost Ark, right? It all seems to make sense, but then you realize a few patterns. Fortnite players share, Fortnite players react, Destiny 2 players share. Why Halo players have mixed feelings. You'll notice that it all seems to be React content. Swap that with, say, Asmongold, and there you go, it's a React YouTube channel. No, the AI is not quite doing React videos yet, but it is doing humongous React websites. Because what the Portal is actually doing is scraping things. It finds trending games, it goes to the Reddit, and then it reproduces popular threads. And this is pretty much exclusively what it does. Now, we cannot 100% prove that they're just feeding links to a AI generator or anything like that. We can't 100% without a shadow of a doubt prove that, though I think it is absolutely what is going on. And if you're wondering what Glorbo has been, well, apparently Glorbo is the next big thing for World of Warcraft, because in a move so big that actually even some elements of mainstream media have picked it up, World of Warcraft fans set a trap with this thread. I'm so excited. They finally introduced Glorbo. This is from Kafer Kerrigan, I think. And this is an amazing thread about Glorbo, right? Glorbo, that it's coming. Talking about how Glorbo has been hinted in Hearthstone since 1994. It's got things such as the Click-Clack, an item that increases your power by 100%, a long-form quest to depose Quackion, the aspect of ducks, small cozy island called Zoop. What happened is Z-League, knowing that World of Warcraft is a game with a big healthy Reddit, Z-League scraped this, and Z-League came up with a bad article about Glorbo coming to World of Warcraft. Here we have it. The Portal. World of Warcraft players excited for Glorbo's introduction. It now says satire. Of course, this is edited. this immediately got picked up, right, by the portal, and whenever they started to get roasted, it was taken down. It was very bizarre. The article, of course, is utterly nonsensical, and now they're trying to say that it was a big joke. To look at the original article, this sentiment was echoed by many other players in the comments who eagerly anticipate the changes Glorbo will bring to the game. However, not all players share that level of enthusiasm. Reddit user Tensam expressed concerns about Glorbo being overpowered and accused Blizzard of being inconsiderate towards non-Glorbo players. Yes, there could be some Glorbism going on from Blizzard, and we do not stand for that sort of thing happening in the game. Whoever knows what Glorbo is. So, honestly, quite ridiculous. Everybody's making fun of it, as they should be, including ex-staff, and even Lulu. Lulu is absolutely hilarious in how she goes so extremely hard. She's basically a high-up Activision executive person. In fact, being their CCO and EVP of Corporate Affairs. You may have known her from such hilarious things as every tweet that she's made that's been extremely aggro about the acquisition. Anyway, so all of this has went viral, and it's not actually the first time that this has happened. There was a very funny one on key removal, and it's basically about how, yeah, they don't give you keys anymore in World of Warcraft. Remember, way back in the day, if you played WoW in like Vanilla or TBC, you could get keys, and there was the little keyring bag, and how all of that is gone. Well, once again, yes, it got taken out by that. There was another very funny one about ostensibly the Final Fantasy community wanting a cooking mini-game that's as entertaining as the fishing mini-game. Now the header image is about FF16 that's recently came out, and that's confused people because FF16 doesn't actually have any mini-games. And in reality, it's great to post about an FF15 unofficial community cookbook and a fishing mini-game in that entry. So this is actually complete nonsense where it quite clearly couldn't scrape the image. It essentially hallucinated all of this stuff, and ultimately what it led to is junk content. Now, in a world where we see so much junk SEO content that is made by humans, then the idea that we see junk SEO content made by machines, well, that's not particularly nice, and we know it is something that they want to happen, right? We know this. The likes of Geo Media and other companies have invested in this stuff. They're hiring, AI editors. It's a story we covered fairly recently. And the sheer levels of awful really are incredible. Here's an example, right? Reddit user Reason Sin reminds players that feedback is crucial for small indie companies like Diablo's developers. So yes, the portal actually does know that Blizzard is a small indie company. It's a very common misconception out there, We think because Bobby's very rich that it's actually a massive company, but no, it's really just Bobby and about 15 developers. They emphasize that players' experiences and suggestions can help to improve the game and make it more enjoyable for everyone. They highlight the importance playtesters have in shaping the game's mechanics and systems. Yes. Obviously, it doesn't understand sarcasm. And funnily enough, none of this actually matters to Z-League, because what happens is that every time you enter the site, you get a pop-up that is designed to get players and players' valuable data into their ecosystem. Reward your gameplay. Real prizes just for playing Diablo 4. Get the app. Do you want a controller, a Corsair, a headset, a Steam Deck, a Stream Deck, any form of deck, apparently? That's what's going to get it. And as much as it is fun to take the piss out of this, it is quite bad. Like, in reality, it's quite bad. In this case, it just utterly takes the piss. And that's why we're talking about it now. And it gets to be a big haha funny that we can all share and enjoy. However, this will get better, right? It eventually will not just be this formulaic tripe. Think about things in a year or two, or think about the places that will do this, have a human do a quick glance over, change a few things, essentially use it as a turbo productivity boost, and then we end up in a strange situation where we end up having hybrid articles. Now, the funny thing is, there are some relatively okay uses of AI in some aspects of this. I believe it's the Associated Press who basically have a thing done that just digests annual earnings reports and that kind of thing. So you can see some sort of, value there. But in a case like this, it is anti-value. It is confusing. It's confusing. The reason why it's happening is basically just a negative unpriced externality of how digital advertising and search works, right? At the end of the day, Google is supposed to find good quality content to give to people, then people will look through that content, and of course Google, because of paid search placements, like, the sponsored things and also the likes of Google AdWords, they make some money, and that's basically how the internet works. Unfortunately. I mean, even at that, hey, have you noticed how Google can really be kind of sus? I forget exactly what service it was I was looking for last night, right? But I typed in the name of the service, and the first 4 suggestions were, of course, sponsored posts where that service's competitors were just making advertisements targeting their keyword, which actually means that search is actively unhelpful. And I know that for somebody like me, I'm never going to fall prey to that. To somebody like, say, my parents, who do not know about all of this because maybe they're born in, the 60s, yeah, they're not going to know how that shit works. So it's just going to confuse them. And I think this will eventually lead to a big issue with signal to noise. Now, if you're a user of Twitter, or should I say X, maybe partial to doing some X's and X, maybe watching some X videos on X.com, the new Musk platform, incredible. But yes, if you are using Twitter, you probably noticed all those AI bros, right? All of those, ChatGPT is dead. Here are 10 mind-blowing things. And then it goes into some Twitter thread that's basically just compiling other people's work. So much of that is about, hey, do you want to do SEO copywriting in barely any time? Use this AI accelerated tool. So eventually what this is going to do is just take the issue we had of SEO bullshit content that's not really made for its own sake. And this is just going to be so much worse with this. And I think that the whole thing of the dead internet theory, it's a fun conspiracy, it's a fun joke, right? We'll maybe watch a Wendigoon video about it or a Y-Files video about it, and it'll all be some nice fun entertainment. Now, however, actually, the truth of it is beginning to come out. For a final one, and I don't have it here in the document, but do you know Places, right? It's that thing, it's very popular in Reddit, where essentially you can draw a little pixel on a humongous canvas. And what you'll have is, big communities going there and oh no, the Irish flag is coming to eat up the thing that our community put there, right? Places, it's all very cool. I saw an article on the portal about how players were really terrified that Princess Zelda was about to be consumed by the void. And it goes through this whole thing of players are concerned about the void. Players are not really sure about the balance of the void and what that will mean for Princess Zelda. And players are glad that the Master Sword is intact. And in reality, what the original thread was just the Zelda Reddit and people saying, oh no, a void is coming to consume Zelda, because on Places, the little, image of Zelda that they had created was being engulfed by a big void or someone else's flag or whatever. That's what the post was. It, of course, had no idea what to do with any of this, so it hallucinated that Princess Zelda is being consumed by the void. Incredible stuff. Finally then, to draw this to a conclusion, and I suppose in a way where we have the likes of Oppenheimer coming out in cinemas right now, a lot of people are thinking, what are the consequences of our technological developments, right? People are thinking about that sort of thing, and I've seen the commentary that this is a bit like the Oppenheimer moment for the AI devs, right? We've seen many AI developers basically say, hey, we need a moratorium and stuff beyond GPT-4. We need to do this shit right or it will be a problem. So, how is AI, good or bad or whatever? Because at the end of the day, what is a tool? A tool is a tool. It is broadly neutral, and the thing that, matters with that tool is how people use it and how that tool is regulated, because maybe those regulations will make the use case of said tool very clear and a bit more safe. When we take a look at this for AI then, with AI in games journalism, is there anywhere that I could see that existing? I think at most it would be taking things from Business Wire or press releases and boiling things down into a quick summary. As an example, one of the platforms you've probably seen sponsors us, Ground News. I think they offer a really terrific service. When you look at a news story, they do have a quick little, 3, 4, 5 point AI summary thing. on the top, right? So you'll have the little AI summary, and then you'll have, all the articles from like the left wing, the center, the right wing, all, the different outlets below that. Now, they do have a clear disclaimer about what that is. But as an example, for me, it's just handy to get a quick little summary that I know not to trust 100%. But, quick little summary of the different headlines, stuff like that. That is a good example of that being a decently handy little tool. Another good use of AI is, as an example, a lot of platforms now where you can get a transcript for the meeting that you've held, and you can extract key points from that transcript so that people don't have to go through like an entire humongous meeting, audio recording or transcript to get a useful bit of information. Or even, and I think this is something that actually a platform that we're using has internally, where it will give you like little timestamps. In the little audio player, little timestamps, so that if you're going through a meeting that you've had, you can see, oh, that's the bit where we talked about that. I'll click there and I'll know what I'm doing. Even to look at, say, Joystick, people liked that because it wasn't massively op-ed focused. It was very like, hey, here's the games, here's what's happening. So there are some instances there where you can see an AI tool being just that, a useful tool. The problem, though, is that tools are used by people, and when people could say, have a real genuine novel use, that's fine. But they could also do a grift. And if grifting is rewarding and easy, then grifting will happen. Ultimately then, I think Google have a real tricky problem here because they are being utterly overwhelmed with bollocks. And they're going to need a way, I imagine, to promote authentic content from real people. Don't really know how they're going to do that, but I do know there are many times where Google have changed up how the search algorithm works. Was it the Penguin update? I think was the big one that just changed the way the web works for a bit. Something like that's probably going to need to happen, or else those who are not informed are just going to be victims of a pure and simple grift. It will spread misinformation and it will not be good. So there you go. In summary, Glorbo is here. All hail Glorbo, and in the name of the almighty Glorbo, I command thee to like and subscribe and to ring the bell. Do it for Glorbo's sake, and I'll see you next time.